expressed on the following program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership.
Arizona, Brother Mike, Phoenix, Casa Grande, Prescott. Welcome to HardcoreChristianity.com. You are about to listen to the nastiest Christian broadcast in the country. On this radio program, you get the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And we don't care who likes it. 2016, can you imagine it? Man, that was a fast year, wasn't it? And what's really scary, you wasted all kinds of time last year spiritually, but this year, it's not going to happen. Today's Bible study, can Christians have demons? Can Christians have demons? Find out today on Hardcore. Hey, would you call somebody and tell them the radio program's on? I'll make a couple of quick announcements while you make that call. This is Brother Mike. I am the counselor, professional counselor at the House of Healing. Over 35 years, I've been a professional counselor in Maricopa County. The House of Healing is located on 11th Street. We're just south of Indian School Road, and we're just west of the 51 freeway. Go to the website. Join us on our Facebook page. Join us on our YouTube teaching channel. Sign up for a free seminar. I have some of the most interesting seminars anybody's ever heard, but you're not going to get there until you come to the service. They're all free, and it'll be the Friday of the last weekend of January. Now, we have 3 services every week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We have teaching, healing, and deliverance at each and every service. Please remember to hit the PayPal button and send us a donation to keep the radio program going. I've been on the radio for over 13 years, and thanks to you, I have never been late on a payment. Can Christians have demons? Believe it or not, this is the number one lie that Satan has told the Church of God in the United States. Number one lie he's ever told any Christian in America, that Christians can't have demons. And he's explained it very well, and he's really put the hurt on us. I got delivered from demons in 2004, and I was a pillar in the Assembly of God religion. I came out of the Assemblies of God denomination, and I was a very, very active and very strong and very on fire, born-again, spirit-filled Christian. And I had issues, integrity issues, spiritual issues involving lust and anger, and I had them for years and asked everybody in the world why I had them and how I could get delivered from them, and not one person ever knew. The reason they didn't know that, because in our religion, the Assemblies of God, they told us Christians couldn't have demons, and I found out that wasn't true, and in 2004, by the grace of God, I went through deliverance. Now, in the King James Bible, the word for being infected with demons, so to speak, is the word possessed. And that's a very bad word, and I'd recommend you never use it. No Christian can be possessed by demons because the Holy Spirit lives in the Christian's spirit man, and the demons can't get in there. In your spirit man, you are absolutely perfect in the eyes of God. But Christians can be infected with demons or under the control of demons to a certain extent, and that's the Greek word daimonizomai, which was translated as possessed, which was an improper translation in the King James Bible. Christians cannot be possessed by demons, but they can be oppressed from the outside by demons, and 100% of all Christians are, and they can be infected with demons, the spirits getting into the body or the brain, causing a mental and physical illness in the born-again believer. But they cannot possess them because the Holy Spirit lives in the spirit man, and the demons cannot get in there. Check it out in 1 Timothy chapter 3. Quote, "A bishop must not be a novice, lest being lifted up with pride, he fall into the condemnation of the devil." The Greek word for condemnation there is krima, which means judgment. After you become a born-again Christian, God no longer judges you for your sin. You were judged for your sin at Calvary, and you will not face judgment for it now or at any time in the future by God. But when a born-again Christian commits sin or lives in sin, they are judged by Satan, and that they are required to fulfill the law of sowing and reaping. And your life goes very bad from that moment on. If you're a practicing sinner, but you're a born-again Christian, you will face the judgment of the devil, and he will pound you like nothing you've ever dreamed of seeing or believing. He is a brutal taskmaster. But remember, that verse also says, quote, "Moreover, the born-again Christian must have a good report of them which are without, lest he fall into the reproach and the snare of the devil." The Greek word for reproach there is anadismos, and anadismos means to be verbally abused or verbally trashed. The Greek word for snare in that verse is pagis, and that means a trap you did not see coming. So here in this verse, these verses in 1 Timothy chapter 3, we know Christians can be judged, verbally degraded and abused, and fall into an unsuspecting trap of Satan. That's an absolute fact, and it happens all the time, as you well know. In 2 Timothy chapter 2, Paul said, quote, "The servant of the Lord must not strive." Makomai is the Greek word for strive there. It means to cause strife or cause stress or cause disruptions or arguments. The servant of the Lord must not strive, but he must be gentle to all, apt to teach, and patient. Why? So the people they're working with, it says, so they may recover themselves out of the snare of the devil, who are taken captive by him at his will. Again, the Greek word there for snare is pagis, a trap you did not see coming. And the Greek word for taken captive there is zogreo. Zogreo means to be taken alive as a prisoner. So in this verse, we see clearly born-again, spirit-filled Christians can fall into the snare of the devil, and they can be taken captive by him. James chapter 3 also says, quote, "If you have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, do not glory and do not lie against the truth. This type of wisdom descends not from above, but is earthly, sensual, and devilish." The Greek word for devilish there is daimoniotis, which means demonic. And then it says, quote, "Where envy and strife is, there is confusion and every evil work." And you can see there that Christians infected with demons can have demonic wisdom. I see this all the time. I've had dozens of people come in for counseling, and they've told me over the years, I was at church and somebody gave me a, quote, word, unquote. And that word, of course, ended up being false. Well, the person there didn't understand that they were infected with familiar spirits or seducing spirits, and the spirits gave them the wrong word or the wrong unction or the wrong word of prophecy, and they shared it with somebody else, and it damaged their lives. So here you see born-again, spirit-filled Christians can have demonic wisdom and cause confusion, strife, and every evil work. Now, Jesus clearly explained this in Luke chapter 11. He said something really incredible. Quote, "If your whole body is full of light," that's the Greek word photonos. Photonos means to be fully or completely illuminated. It says, if your whole body is fully and completely illuminated, having no part dark, then the whole shall be full of light. Same Greek word, photonos. But listen, the Greek word for having no part dark is not the Greek word for like pitch dark or black. It's the Greek word skotonos, which means shady. Have you ever met a shady Christian? Man, they're all over the place. If you go to a mega church on Sunday morning, you're looking at like 99% of the people. Shady Christians. What does that mean? Shady is a mixture of light and darkness. Skotonos is an adjective that describes both light and dark in the same place. So Jesus is saying here, if a born-again Christian's whole body is full of light, they're completely or fully illuminated. If they have no part dark, so what Jesus is saying is that Christians can have darkness in them. And light and dark can fellowship in the same place or in the same person. He specifically says it. And that's an example of someone being infected but not possessed by demons. Luke chapter 13. Check it out. This woman who was a follower of Jehovah, Jesus called her a daughter of Abraham, said that Satan had given her a severe illness that appears to be kyphosis, scoliosis, or severe rheumatoid arthritis. It says, quote, there was a woman with a spirit of infirmity in her synagogue, and she was so bent over she could not stand up anymore. And Jesus said to her, woman, you are loosed, Greek word luo, that means to unloose or unchained. Jesus said, you are loosed from your infirmity. And later on, Jesus said this woman was A, a daughter of Abraham, and B, she was bound by Satan. So here you see another example of a believer who was infected with demons. Spirits of infirmity make Christians sick all the time. In fact, in your church, next Sunday morning, you can stand in the back of the church and count the people who have the spirits of infirmity, and you can see all these people who are physically ill, but they cannot get healed. That's because they don't need healing, they need deliverance. They're infected in their body, not their spirit, man, in their body with a spirit of infirmity. In 2 Corinthians chapter 11, Paul drops a bomb on us. Quote, if he comes preaching another Jesus whom we did not preach, or if you receive another spirit, or you receive another gospel, you are not to bear well with them. Paul is saying in that verse that there's another Jesus out there, a fake one. And boy, we see him preached in churches and on television constantly. That's a fake familiar spirit impersonating Jesus Christ. And he says there's another spirit that Christians can receive. The Greek word for another there is heteros. It means different. This is a demonic spirit. So in this verse, 2 Corinthians 11, verse 4, Paul is specifically saying that a Christian, born-again, spirit-filled Christian, can receive a fake Jesus, demonic spirits, and a different gospel. If you feel that you may have symptoms of being infected with spirits, and you're a born-again, spirit-filled Christian, or you're a born-again Christian, remember, you are not possessed. You cannot be possessed. You are only infected, and probably from childhood. You need to come for deliverance, 602-636-5800. We see last year in 2015, we had over 2,000 people delivered from demons at the House of Healing. This year, we will have twice that or more. Why don't you come for your healing? You know what? 2016 is your year. Let's do it. You need to be set free and delivered from spirits.
The views expressed on the preceding program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership. This program has been sponsored by Michael W. Smith.